If you've bought a new Nvidia GPU recently, I hope you saved your receipt, especially if it's within that 30-day return period. Obviously, more for American people. In other places, they're always surprised you can just return stuff. I guess in the US, it's a privilege that consumers have where the return policies are more lenient. But why have I said this? There are some new Nvidia GPUs slated to come out in as little time as about a month. We're talking about the Nvidia Super Refresh. If you guys remember, RTX 3000 didn't have any super refreshes. All we had was a 3080 Ti, 3090 Ti. They pretty much skipped the supers altogether. The last time we saw a super GPU was with the 2080 Super, all the way back in the 20 series generation. And now let's hear a word from our sponsor, VIP-CDKdeals.com, a Windows 10 Pro CD key. Add to cart, you put in code CC20. This will also work on Windows 11. You want to go into your settings in Windows, change and adjust your CD key, click activate, and now let's go back to the video. So we're going to talk about the two GPUs that are coming and what they're going to have to be priced at to be attractive to gamers. There's going to be the 4070 Super, 4070 Ti Super, that's a weird one, and then finally a 4080 Super. Of course, there's going to be no other 4090 variant. If you guys noticed online, the 4090s have like literally disappeared and gone up in price the last few months. That's because they're using them as AI GPUs all over the world. So the demand is really high. Even though they're not data center GPUs, all of the data center GPUs are like perpetually sold out. So obviously they're going to be a nice second choice, maybe for like smaller operations or something like that. So let's start right at the RTX 4070 Super. Let's compare it to the 4070. The 4070 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM and coming out at $599 was actually received fairly decently by gamers and enthusiasts. The pricing wasn't as bad as the 4070 Ti or the 4080, and the performance was certainly pretty good, and at least it came with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. Nvidia could have easily, made some excuse and given us 8 again, like they did with the 4060 Ti, the cheaper one, and that would have been pretty much terrible. So 4070 as a baseline is not a bad GPU at all. Now, the 4070 Super, reportedly, it's going to kind of maintain that same 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which is fine, but overall, it's just going to be a faster performing GPU. You could look at it as maybe closer to like a 4070 Ti, possibly the original 4070 Ti. Now, remember, the 4070 was one of the better GPUs in the mid-range until AMD announced and released the 7800 XT. Now, that GPU coming in at around $499, and of course, there's a cheaper version at $449, both of which have been on sale, in recent times, but not really that drastic of a change. Anyway, the top-end 7800 comes in $100 less than the MSRP of the 4070, which also has been discounted a lot lately, down to like $530, maybe even close to the $500 range. So AMD really put the pressure on Nvidia there, and a lot of people that normally wouldn't buy AMD just thought, hey, this GPU has more VRAM with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, and it seems to perform close or even outperform the 4070. So that's definitely been a pretty strong point. Now, with the 4070 Super, it's going to really open up that gap even more. The question is going to be pricing. Will Nvidia price it at $599 and replace the 4070? That would certainly be the best move, and it's going to be better received like that, and it would be pretty good at that price. It's going to be basically what a 4070 Ti was almost, but for $599. That's going to be the main point, but I think as long as they price it fairly, within that range, it's probably going to do well. The next GPU in the lineup is the 4070 Ti Super. Now, potentially, this one may get a spec bump into 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Then it's going to match the 4080. That's going to be pretty interesting. If it comes with some better performance in terms of rasterization, of course, ray tracing, everything like that, as well as Nvidia does it, and 16 gigabytes of VRAM, that may fix a lot of issues that the 4070 Ti had. 4070 Ti is not a bad GPU. It performs well, but 12 gigabytes of VRAM is a problem in some games. It is a problem at higher resolutions, and the $799 MSRP was never really well received. So A $799 16 gigabyte super variant, however, I could see that being a pretty decently received GPU. And then, of course, whatever is left of the 4070 Ti would get discounted way below that price. Now, Nvidia could very well price these at a $100 premium than their current models, which, I don't know, wouldn't be the best move, but who knows? Nvidia is so focused on the AI market, maybe they don't really care about pricing the GPUs too low to sell. They're going to make money either way. 4070 Ti Super, definitely the one to watch. If the pricing is good, the performance could be a really good high-end GPU if it's not too expensive. So the next one on the list is going to be the RTX 4080 Super. Now, this is going to be an interesting one and the one that's been rumored to have maybe the smallest gains in performance. The main thing here will be pricing. If Nvidia magically priced this at $999, even if it keeps the same 16 gigabytes of VRAM, because remember, this GPU is probably going to be more closely related to the existing 4080 because 4090 AD102 dies are being used for AI and it's a lot more in demand, so they want to probably keep that out of the way. And 4080 Super with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, while it's not that interesting because there are other better GPUs like the 4090 out there, if you can find it, maybe even the 7900 XTX, if Nvidia prices it low enough, that's going to be pretty extraordinary. We did see reports that Nvidia's production of the existing 4080 has sort of like come to a close, so I don't think they would plan to sell them side by side, or else we would see like an $800 4080 and that would cannibalize sales of a 4070 Ti Super and things like that. So the 4080 is the one that most likely is the least interesting just because the gains aren't going to be that great. The price is probably still going to be high. The only way that it's going to be the most interesting is if the pricing is really pretty incredible. $999. That would be, I think, a very good price for this GPU. Faster than a 4080 and under the price of what a 4080 used to be. I don't think too many people will complain. Obviously, it probably is going to come in at $1199, which is the price of the current 4080. And unless the performance is really superior, I don't really think it's going to be all that popular. And people are just going to continue to focus on the GPUs under it, like the 4070 Ti Super and the 4070 Super. So pricing is going to be the main factor here. Nobody's complaining that a 4080's performance isn't enough. It's fine. They're complaining it's too expensive. The 4070 Ti will do good to upgrade to 16 gigabytes of VRAM. That I definitely agree with. And of course, the 4070 with competition from the 7800 XT beneath it definitely needs something a little beefier to prop it up. But at the end of the day, pricing is a key issue, especially in the sort of GPU market that we're in now. All right, guys, let me know what you think down below. Are you looking forward to these GPUs? Do you think Nvidia is going to surprise us with great pricing? Or is it going to be another expensive, wallet-busting GPU release? Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.